Hey, we are back. We're back. I want to just make a quick video here with my daily vlogs. And I did it for a while. Then I just kind of shut it down and been hearing left and right on what to produce, right, and what to consume, as far as what I consume every single day. But what to produce, what to make. And if you're thinking of making your own channel, or starting some type of vlog, or even just talking about what you're inspired by, what gives you that, I would say, energy, right, creativity. First thing is you want to just talk about what it is that brings you, what would you discuss with somebody right now if you was to go out some coffee or one of your friends and you guys would just blab on a regular basis, right? What ignites you, right? And what that thing is. A lot of us have different topics that we talk about every single day. Some people love sports, some people love maybe talk shows, maybe even for me it was always been about how why do we do what we do, people in general, right? What is it that drives us, what is it that the meaning of life in the sense, or what is it that we're here for, how to find our purpose, things that we kind of are never really taught in school, to be realistic, right? Most of the time we just learn random subjects at no purpose at all. I'm okay with the reading and math, right? This is general knowledge we need in school, obviously in life, but other than that, like, unless you want to be a scientist or you also want to study other certain things, most of our topics are just kind of given to us. Curriculums are given to us without having a difference depending on the individual, right? And this video kind of inspired me to just talk about today on with the kids right now that are being home. They're remote learning. How we have the same topics and same curriculum for every single student, right? And not too long ago, I watched a video by last name, I think it was Prince something. He's a great influencer. He's on YouTube, Instagram. I've seen him around, and he has great inspirational videos. And he talks about how the school system has, although it has, it's been around for many years. It hasn't stayed, with the I would say the era of decades. It stayed prehistoric, even though we're in the future, right? We have technology around. We have all of these things at our service, and schools are not, at least public schools, not really staying up to par with the ages or the decades or the times. And I think, for me, obviously we don't blame school for anything, right? School at the end of the day gets you by. As you grow up, you make your own decisions and you do what you want to do with your life. But it does make a big difference on how you think, right? How you see life, how you see how much, beliefs you have, your ideas, your creativity, how much things are out there, depending on what kind of education you had, and also how much you actually use of that education. Because we can have education, but not all of us are using the education, right, to its potential. And my discussion is that in school, every kid gets the same curriculum, but at the same time, not every kid is the same, right? Some kids might never ever need to use science. Some kids might never ever to use history. They'll probably be doing things besides that has nothing to do with that. Some kids would like to build stuff with their hands. Some kids like to read and learn writing, right? There's so many things that we're different on. We all have different capabilities, different interests, different abilities as well. And I don't think school really addresses that. And it's something that's been repeated on and on. And I think now with the remote learning that we're doing, I kind of realized that there's no better time to do this now, right? We have the online remote learning. Teachers have that access to each student from home and can work with individual students. Obviously, a bit more time. It's going to be a little more time consuming, but work with each individual student, right, as to what they need. Not just have that one program for all students, not knowing what every student needs. And this is coming from, if you ever have, or you have kids that are struggling with some topics, or maybe they're not really into certain topics, then maybe the kid is not at fault. Maybe what the situation we might have to do is bring the topics that the kid is interested in, have them work on that, have them create a sense of I would say success by working on those topics that they actually are really attracted to. not making them work on topics that they're not one attracted to and they're not good at all. As adults for now, we know certain things that we're not good at. We hate doing things that we're not good at, right? We don't really look forward to it. We do it, but we don't really care for it. So I think we push kids to work on these topics and these subjects that they don't care for one and they're not really good at, and to be all is just to get a grade, but it's not like they're never gonna really go for that ever again. I can't really recall back in school when I was really not at good at. I'm trying to think of some topics, but I know when I took physics in college, although I was good at math, physics was never really something I got, and I didn't really care for it. And I took the course. I think I passed it by barely, and I never really used that again. There's no need for me to ever really look back at that. But I had to take it. It was part of my my bachelor's degree program. But if I could go back to that, I would probably never want to take that course. I would probably use that time for another course that I would probably maybe at that time networking, maybe public speaking, maybe some type of at that time technology wise that back in I would say 15 years ago. Well, 15 years ago, I'm a little bit behind, but about 10 years ago, 12 years ago, you know, computers and technology wasn't as advanced as it is now, right? And I would probably take some type of advanced technology class. I would have gotten me prepared for where I now. And not prepared because this is new something, some subjects, but at the same time, just be more ease and adaptable to certain technologies, because certain things we saw at that time, but we didn't have them at that moment. And obviously, we can't go back in time, but what I'm trying to say is that our school system right now is I would say, right now it's at a breaking point, right? We're working with our kids from home, and we're seeing how our kids are struggling, or like don't really care for school. That shows us how school is fitting our kids, right? And we have to, I think, at the same time, as parents, you and I, parents, really want to take a little more interest into our schooling for our kids, and not have to think that just because it's public school, it's no good. Let's go to private school. No, their schooling should be fair for everyone. In a sense, a great education for access to all kids, no matter where you come from, no matter your ethnicity, your financial status, whatever it is. Education for kids should be something that should be equal, of great, I would say, of great ability for the kids to learn, and to learn what they love, and become good at what it is they love, and at the same time, let them keep their minds active, free, creative, and see what they, what it is that propels them. I know for my kids, I try to let them do what it is that they, I would say, what calls to them. I might not see the point of it. I might not see like any type of real world scenarios, but you never know. You never know what it is that is gonna make them spark, right, and have them bring something out of them that I probably would have seen if I would have just kept it just at a regular, schooling scenario or schooling topics. So yeah, there goes my rant on schooling. And I think, to be honest, for all of us, if you out there have any kids, if you're watching, especially if you're parents, our kids are our future, right? And they are pretty much gonna be leading this country, leading this universe, this world. And I think also having more conscious kids on doing things that they're doing and why they're doing it, right? I know for me, at least for me, being a first generation, I would say, kid from immigrant parents that came here, my goal was to go to school and just, I would say, make our parents proud, right? And if you are ever been in that boat, you kind of just run through your education, you run through everything, you get your good grades, you graduate, and you just want to get out and become successful, as they call it, right? But at the same time, you're kind of missing the point of what it is, of who you are, who you truly are, on what you're here to do. And at the same time, you realize that once you become an adult, your parents are going to love you regardless of what you've done, of who you've become. They love you for you, for you as an individual. I think personally, for most of us, we wanted to get that love from your parent for, you know, being seen as successful or being seen as somebody in this world. And it could lead, I think, to, as you get older, to a lot of, depression or even anxiety, because you're not really following what you're meant to do here. You're doing what you're good at, right? But you're not really doing what you're supposed to be doing. And, some of us go into the late stages of our lives not knowing and finding it at that time. But at the same time, I think if we focus on our intention on, like I said, doing what interests you, what you like, and having our kids follow that, I think they can grasp that at an earlier stage. There'll be a lot more, I would say, change in the world, because they'll be doing things more out of creativity, out of love, out of passion to what they want to bring to the universe, to the world, as opposed to just doing it for titles, money, what else can we say, status, right? They're doing it because they want to be, they want to create an impact. As I used to watch a show called Impact Theory by Tom Bilyeu, and all his guests were, how would they create an impact in the world? And not only financially, right? It was how they were helping the world revolutionize, whether it be by, there was one individual, for his name, but he was being able to get water wells in Africa and give access to clean water to a lot of villages and cities that still didn't have at that time, at least clean water, in Africa, and not only Africa, but parts of certain countries that didn't have clean access to clean water. So he felt his purpose was to be able to find ways to do that, and he has a charity, and I believe it's called, I forgot the name of the charity, but the charity itself, he gets a bunch of donations, and he uses that to get clean access, clean water to everyone, even no matter where living in the slums of the slums, you have access to clean water. So things like that is what I feel like really has me with faith and hope that we're on the right track. We have the right individuals out there in this world to impact. So it starts with our kids. So this is why I'm so passionate about our kids and education, and hopefully let's see if our education catches up with the times. And I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.